Good day, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to Cinnamon&Fire, our number one Nigerian platform where we showcase and spotlight Africans in diaspora and the business and tech space that are spearheading, you know, real stories from bold builders. It is a pleasure to be here. I am your host, DK Emmanuel Merimoth, and I am here with. Please introduce yourself.
Felix Akinnibi. My name is Felix Akinnibi.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Mr. Felix, for being here. Can you just introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us what you do,
Okay.
who you are.
Okay. So I'm an SEO specialist. That's digital marketing, an aspect of that digital marketing. So I've been in the space for about 6 years plus now. Just after I finished my service here in 2015, so I decided to delve into digital marketing, and from there narrowed down into SEO. So yeah, I've been in SEO fully. I would say like 5 to 6 years ish. Yeah.
Okay, so is it okay if I ask what you studied?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so
Yeah, so what I studied in university is totally different from what I did.
that's the reason why.
Yeah, so my course was wildlife and tourism.
Wow.
It's totally different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the first question I would ask, because I hear this quite often where people study a particular thing but find their foot in something totally different.
Yeah.
So the question I'm asking myself is that as a result of, I don't know, maybe parental influence, or could we just say youthful, not knowing exactly what it is that we want to do at a particular point in time, or instead of asking generally, let me ask for you, like what would you say this scenario was for you?
Okay, that made me change like from what I studied in school to what
Yes,
I'm doing now.
yes.
Okay, so it was not parental or anything. So it was just like a decision, right? So I spent 5 years in university doing wildlife, doing tourism and all that. Then just in my service here, there was this like last part of the service here, I think about maybe 2 weeks. Like these people, is it Said or some people that do like these seminars, teaching you about okay, what's like the next thing in life once you finish service here and things like that. And so there were some people that came to just facilitate like a session and stuff like that. So they talked about digital marketing, about like we being like more digital nowadays and stuff like that. So there were like some fields they mentioned. They mentioned digital marketing as well. They mentioned paid ads, like paid media marketing. They mentioned SEO. So like that SEO just piqued my interest. That okay, like this is even like the person sold it. Like this is like an hot cake right now. Like websites are trying to, like rank organically in Google and get audiences or get people like to their website and all that. So I'm like, okay, like this sounds like something interesting to let me like learn more about this. So it was just something that just piqued my interest in that webinar. And I decided to like just go for it. Then coupled with the fact that like in this Nigeria, I don't think there's like a wildlife role anywhere where you could say, okay, I want to maybe start working somewhere unless you want to really do masters and maybe now start teaching like lecture in wildlife, or you're just like an adventurous person, you want to just go into the bush and just do your thing in photography and stuff like that. So since there's no key role, no key path, like no key career path from wildlife, so I just thought, okay, let me just try this out, and I just started in social media marketing and digital marketing, website management, things like that. And yeah, that was the.
So would you say there was any experience, or there were any experiences that you got from school, from the course that you actually studied, that maybe has assisted you in a way to do what it is that you do now currently?
Yeah, so I would say research is one key area. I mean, because of course in school you did projects, final year project, and even for my wildlife course, like there's a year before the last year, the penultimate year, like the 400 level, where we go outside of the school, right, to go to different states in Nigeria. Like we actually go into the wild, like national parks here, like where we go to study wildlife and to like just write things down, like to experiment, to do a lot of things, right? So those things helped me to be able to know how to organize myself, to be able to know how to research more. Yeah, so of course my final year project, I still remember today, was on a snake, a very venomous snake in the world, right? So that helped me to be able to know how to deepen my research, because that's one key skill in this SEO we do. If you're trying to, to rank in search, you're trying to rank your website or your video, whatever resource that you have there, so you need to understand your audience. First of all, you need to know who they are, right, and what are the things they're searching for. I should be able to know how to prepare your website to rank there. So that's a very transferable skill, I would say, help me. Yeah.
Okay. So from the little that I know, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
You've worked fintech,
Yeah.
fashion in a way as well.
Yes.
And then from what I know, you did kind of like disability support, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Something of that nature. So that means you've worked in almost 3 or 4 different spaces in a pretty short period of time. So I think the question would be, for you, what advice would you have for somebody who is in a space and currently trying to come into the SEO space, and where they are now is not related to SEO at all? Like, yeah.
So okay, my first advice for them is to, not be overwhelmed, first of all, right? Because there's so many people in the SEO space, both foreign guys and we in Nigeria, and there are so many ideas that just fly about. Someone can say, okay, this is the best way to do your keyword research, or this is the newest way to do this. Okay, I use ChatGPT to run this. This is the way to do it. Or I used one AI to do this, or like you've been getting this wrong. Things like that. There's a lot of things you see online like that. But I would just say for them coming on board, they should know the basics, right, and stick to that basics, right. I mean, for the past, I would say 5-6 years that I've really been into SEO, there are still some fundamentals that don't change, right? Even with new tools coming up, the basic SEO is still the basic SEO. You still need to, get your own page SEO, right? You need to get your technical SEO right. Crawlers should be able to crawl your website and index your website. Should be able to build relevant backlinks, right? So there are still key things that are still fundamental, whether there's ChatGPT or not, right? So I think those are the things they should ensure that they know first of all,
right, and
they know like those fundamentals and stick to it. Then they can now build on on other things, but they shouldn't. Because even me, sometimes I try to just shut out. If I go onto LinkedIn, I see this expert say this one say this one. Sometimes I'm getting confused.
Right, there's so much information.
Let me just calm down here. So that would be like my major advice for them coming into this space.
So pretty much know the basics and the most fundamentals, build from the ground up, and then secondly, relax.
Yeah, just take it one step at a time. Nice. To build.
Okay, so in the SEO space during the 6 years that you've been there, has there been a project that you have executed that made you be like, oh shit, I know I sabi my work? Like, is there a proud moment, that something that you did that you're like, yes, I know what I'm doing?
There are a few actually, but I think one major one which I think some other people would know, or maybe even some people know me, was the one I did at Cowrie-Wise when I was at Cowrie-Wise. So like the time
Cowrie-Wise.
Cowrie-Wise.
Cowrie-Wise. Okay, I was like, Cowrie-Wise is so.
No.
Cowrie-Wise.
Okay. Cowrie-Wise. The platform.
Okay, nice.
So I think remembering then, I joined the brand when they were getting traffic, like monthly traffic, about I think 18K, 19K, like monthly, right, from Google search. And by the time I left there, just about 19 months after, like 1 year plus, they were averaging about 110,000 per month. So that was like 6x or 7x. And that was majorly through like some strategy I was able to execute. Of course, the brand also allowed, like there was a budget to be able to experiment and do a lot of things. Yeah, so I would say that's like one of my key projects. I was able to take the brand from ranking for like a few keywords where they were able to get such traffic to even like, but there was almost no finance then that you search thing that Cowrie-Wise did not have like an article to rank for it. Then maybe you're thinking of something around saving money or investing money, things around that, almost nothing around that we didn't have a resource to answer it. And so that was like, I would say, a huge strategy that I executed.
Okay, so obviously with this that we're talking about too, there are also sometimes you go into a job or into a project or a process, and automatically, like after a first couple of moves, you're already like, oh shoot, what do I do? Like, what have I gotten myself into? So, are there any personal SEO projects that you have worked on? Well, not personal, but anything that you have worked on that at the beginning you're like, nah, this is not gonna work, but at the end, still turned out even better than you expected.
Okay, so truth be told, not all SEO projects are like, okay, you get into it and you already like know how it's going to work out, right? I mean, you know the basics. You know, okay, you're starting on a website. You know the things to do. Right? But all websites are different. There are some websites that maybe, I mean, the issues they have on their website, you need to first use like 2 months to even help them set things straight. First of all, right, before you start saying, okay, let's start executing this. Like some people have so messed up their website. I don't know how they developed it, but yeah, so websites are different. And I would say, yeah, there's been a couple where, in fact, for the first 1 2 months, I was actually not too sure on, what direction to actually go for them, right? But I think one thing that always keeps me or brings me back to track is that, okay, for every website, whether you have 1 million pages on Google or you're just starting out or something, I mean, like there has to be a site audit done for your website, right? So you can't just, also for new SEOs coming on board, you can't just pick someone's website, then just start saying, okay, you need to rank this keyword. Like, how do you know you rank with that?
Right.
You need to first like know where they are, right? Like know their foundation, know like where they are actually. So that's where the audit comes in, right?
Okay.
So me doing that audit helps me to know, okay, this is like where they are really, maybe on the scale of 1 to 10. Then this is like what they need to fix,
Right.
or this is where we need to start on. So yeah, there are cases that it might look kind of tedious from the start, but at the end of the day, we still kind of figure it out. And of course, some take longer than the other to grow. I'll put it that way, depending on many factors. There are some, okay, for instance, I mean, for the one factor I mentioned, that maybe your website is just so messed up. That's number one. And so number two is that, depending on the budget, you also have to run SEO. Like that was, I mean, I was able to do that with CarRise because there was budget like month on month if you want to build links, if you want to write articles. But their websites, I mean, I understand also my clients that not everyone is there yet, right? It might be a startup, you're just trying to bootstrap and everything. So depending on the resources you have, it will also help to know, okay, how fast you get to like the goal you're looking at. SEO. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is a misconception that people from the outside world have about this SEO thing? That they think they understand it, they think they know it, but you hear it quite commonly, and it's actually it's cap. It's not true.
Okay, so I think one thing I usually, I mean, yeah, when I was still like starting SEO is free traffic. Yes, yeah, it's free traffic. As if you don't actually spend. People see SEO as the opposite of paid ads. When, for paid ads,
right.
when you run ads, you're seeing that result like maybe the following day instant, you're getting leads or likes or comments, whatever you're getting. But for SEO, you just say, okay, you're not spending money. Maybe you just hired someone, but you're getting traffic. So it just feels like it's free traffic. So that made people think that, okay, maybe what are you really doing? Like it's not that tough. It's just free traffic coming from Google. But that's very, very wrong because you can't. I mean, Google does not just rank you for free. If someone searches for maybe like best wedding rings, I don't know, things like that.
Yeah, okay.
If your website is not about wedding rings or you don't have things like, you can't rank for that, right? Even if your business is wedding rings, but maybe on your website you don't really have things that talk about wedding rings. You just have like rings pictures. You don't have content that are valuable to that. You still would not rank. So it's not just about having a website out there. You just have pictures, photos, but there are things you need to still do because there are thousands of websites out there that are doing. They are in the same niche you are in. They are doing the same things you're doing. They have the same products as you. So what makes you rank number one? I mean, if you search on Google, you see page 1, page 2. There are so many pages. You even see like maybe 10 of like maybe millions of results. Right? So there's so many results out there. So to be able to now make your own website rank first, it's a huge job. Which some people just think, no, it's just so that was like one thing I think. It's not free. Right? The work you do is not that easy. Yeah.
So I would say you've worked with teams and you've probably worked alone, right?
Yeah.
Which would you say is more fun for you? Do you rather work alone or do you rather work with teams? And then why? Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So I actually work better alone.
Mm-hmm.
That way, yeah, because I like remote work a lot. In fact, if I'm working for a brand or an employer, I have to know that you allow like remote working. If you're like going to come every day to work, that would be a bit tough, right? I mean, there are times I work with hybrid and company, but the times I show up at the office, maybe it's just to network with colleagues and just you guys just chat and everything. But I know I do more work when I'm alone, like when I'm at home or at the workspace or something. Yeah, so I would say I definitely work better. Yeah.
Okay. So when you are not working, is there
Mm.
anything that is not SEO related, but that you dig
I
into
do.
it? This is something, and I'm talking something not a hobby now. I'm talking about maybe a learning thing or a professional thing or
Mm.
maybe a skill. Do you understand? Is there anything that you are very interested in? You're always reading about, but it might not necessarily be SEO related.
Okay, so that question is, I mean, I didn't expect to hear that kind of question. It's because most of my hours is SEO. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always like working things like that. So I'll say it's mostly about SEO. But yeah, besides for when I'm for the hours that I'm not working, I actually like playing guitar, right?
Oh, wow,
So
music.
yeah, that, and I also like, I mean, I'm trying to enter content creation myself, maybe
Okay.
doing other things. I have a YouTube channel, where I try to create content there in my free time. So I would say that I know I have books like in my house, but like I might try to read a couple of books, like maybe things like that. But yeah, I would say most of my life is about SEO pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds boring, right?
No, no, it's not. So that just reflects passion and dedication. I feel like everybody has different personalities. Like some people, when they diversify, it helps one thing. Some people need to streamline on one thing and focus on it. So, is there something that you might say, you might have heard that sounded like it was a foundational principle for SEO, but like when you came, it wasn't necessarily applicable to you. You had
To
to
me,
unlearn it. Do you understand? Because I feel like there's every industry that you try to go into has like rules and regulations that are kind of like fundamental or foundational. So would you say there's things that you heard that people are like, oh, you have to do this thing, and now you're in the space and you're like, well, but
said no,
did I
for
really
me,
need
right?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, so one of those things is link building. Like me coming on board, I need, okay, like you have to have content on your website, valuable content that people will find when they search for something that relates to you. But there's also one thing about, okay, you have to build links. You have to reach out to websites. Okay, my website is good or has this content, please link to me or things like that. Like I actually have some outreach emails that we write and stuff like that. But one thing I've noticed is that you don't need to necessarily do that like so much or actively. So there are ways you can still get links without you actually writing all these outreach emails. You can just make sure you're just so good enough. I mean, sometimes it seems like okay, that's a bit hard or something. But if you have like valuable content on your website, like, people get to link to it naturally. This is something I've seen like work many times. So for content that may be about data or you doing research or statistics, right? If you have a content on your website, not just an article, not just a blog, but something that talks about a particular data that is helpful. So maybe you're into the finance space and you have like some research or some study that you did that talks about, okay, 20% of people in Nigeria now have this or have this amount in their account. Things that have like data sources that works for people. You tend to get links for that a lot, right? People just because if people are writing articles or writing some form of content and they see your article, they definitely link back to that source. That, okay, according to the survey or research by this brand, right? And those are the ways you just get links, whether you even actively do it or not, just because you have good content on your website, right? So I've seen that work a lot. I'm like, okay, I don't know because okay, maybe it's also like a flow from my personality. I don't like to bug people trying to say please link to my website because I just feel like it's just extra stress. So link building for me, I would say, is a part that maybe in a way conflicts with my personality. But I try as much as possible to like have good content, for the brands I work with, and of course with that I've checked some point over time. Maybe I give them like there was even a post I made on my LinkedIn, I think just last week, mentioning that okay, there was a brand I wrote this content for, like just about I think 2 years plus back or something, and that brand now has links. Like I think they have about maybe 100 and something backlinks. I mentioned that, and these links I did not actively, send anyone out. Okay, please link to this, but just because of that content was that good, and it had that link over the 2 years or thereabout period. So that's one I would say okay. I found out myself that okay, I don't need to necessarily actively do it. I'll still get it, but I have to. It might be slower, right? For other SEOs, I want to critique me. It might be slower if you are doing like that, but at least that's one personal thing I got to know. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix. It was really a good time listening and learning from you. For those of you who are watching, I go by the name DK Emmanuel Merimoth, and this is Cinnamon and Fire, where we bring real stories of bold builders from Africa, in Africa, or in diaspora, who are in the diaspora who are making waves in the tech space or just in the business space in general, but with a relaxed perspective, right? So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned. If you did, then please make sure that you like, you follow, you comment for more updates. Thank you so much again, Mr. Felix, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I did. I learned a lot of things. So thank you so much. Stay locked in and keep watching Cinnamon and Fire.